In today's news, I'm going to share with you 6 copy-paste frameworks that we have used to 5x our community's engagement as well for other 35 communities in 2024 alone. So with that said, let's dive right into it. So you understand that we are not bluffing. Here you can see a proof that we have grown our own community to 24 members. Actually, right now we are at 32 members as of speaking right now. And this, by the way, works for everyone. I'm gonna not go through the testimonials right now, but you can pause the screen. We have countless of testimonials and also written testimonials that you can check out. So with that said, let's go with the first one. You have to understand that the art isn't to just get a sale. The art is, number one, to prolong the sale as long as possible, meaning that the member continues to pay as long as possible, and second, to get from one member to members. But there is one more. It is an activation process. Whenever you get a sale, in most communities, member joins and that's it. And that leads to lost members or really high churn rate, which is not something you want as a community owner. But this is what you want to do. Whenever a member joins, you have an activation process. Activation process, by the way, is coming from the world of SaaS, software as a business. And the activation process can look something like this. So the member joins, you have an introduction post where the member introduces themselves, explains why they have joined here, shares some fun facts about themselves, so they get that public acknowledgement. Because all of us, we want to be seen and heard. And if we can do that from the very beginning, when the member joins the community, you are on the right path. Let's go to the second step in the activation process. So from the introduction post, ideally, you have to offer also an onboarding call. If your community is under 97 bucks a month and you think that a 15-minute onboarding call is just not worth of your time simply because maybe you are also scaling, so therefore you just don't have that much time, then I highly suggest to do just group onboarding calls where you take 5-6 new members and you just host a group onboarding call. Because at the end of the day, through an onboarding call, if that is something you're going to provide from the very beginning to your new members, you're going to separate yourselves from the noise and you're going to get in the minds of those new members. Therefore, they're going to stay for longer. So that's the second. And lastly, number 3, which we're going to get into deeper tactics on how to implement that in the right way later in this video, but an accountability partner. And this is, by the way, a secret. Pretty much no other community does this. This is coming from our internal community where one of our clients just one day came up, hey, how about if like a member joins, they get connected together with an accountability partner? Brilliant idea, because the member, once a member joins a community or something new, they are kind of like, imagine going to a high school for the first day. They go into the school, open the doors, and they know absolutely nobody. The same happens with the community. So if we can already connect and make them friends with somebody from the community, that's perfect. They're gonna want to stay longer and they're just gonna have better overall customer experience. Second, accountability partners. Let's go a little bit deeper, shall we? Good, let's go. So the member joins here. We have the welcome post, and then we also have a separate classroom, kind of like a master class, explaining what the accountability partner's roles and responsibilities are, how really that partnership is playing out. And here you have to basically highlight the reason why there's an accountability partner. The reason is simple, because when member joins in, they have to or they must set a specific goal of why they reach the community, what's the goal they want to reach. They have to communicate that goal to their accountability partner so they are aware, and then therefore they can be kept accountable for the commitments they have made. Because as you know, when we are held accountable, we are more likely to actually get shit done that we have to do. So with that said, right here we have a separate classroom. One more cool thing that we have seen working really well is to do custom workshops. So every week you have these weekly community calls. Instead of having just one weekly community call where members can ask questions you host a workshop for these accountability partners where they have to work together. So let's say you are a fitness coach. All right, that's gonna be not a great example. Let's say you're a mindset coach. So what do? You basically create some kind of game or template or a quiz where these two accountability partners can challenge each other in the game itself and build even stronger bond. Not only they're gonna learn something new, they also gonna be able to connect on a deeper level with their accountability partner. And here's the beautiful thing about accountability partners. It's probably the single biggest reason of why they're gonna stay in your community for as long as possible. Because the last thing we want to leave are our friends. We don't want to leave our friends, or we don't want to leave a place where we have found these friends, which is your community. So whenever people are going to want to cancel the subscription of your community, they're going to think twice, because that was the place that gave them the opportunity to meet probably their best friend. Moving forward, you have to create an accountability template. With this, these are the SOPs. So these are the routines we are following through. Every Monday, we are checking in with our accountability partner, or vice versa, checking in what are their priorities, what's the progress made, and so on. On Fridays, we have a short 15-20 minute call between both partners where we go through X, Y, Z. You want to give them something that is just a copy-paste framework, because then they are more likely actually to integrate that in their day-to-day lives. If you're gonna be lazy and gonna not do that, sorry, the accountability program really gonna not work that well. And here's a pro tip, by the way. Every end or every last day of the month, create kind of like a challenge or open report context where the accountability partners have to give kind of like a breakdown of the performance of their partners publicly as a post inside the community. And you can create like a separate channel for that, and it's gonna be really cool because the engagement is gonna go up. Everyone gonna be curious, hey, what the other person really gonna say about myself and about my performance and so on. So there's gonna be that strong, deep unity of connection within your community that no other community of your competition probably has. So if you want to be a couple steps ahead of the game and have an unfair advantage, go and implement Accountability Partners Program ASAP. And if you want to do it, by the way, in the right way, in the most effective way, go click under the video and you can see in the description you can join our community where we are breaking down how to integrate the accountability partner system as well many other cool systems that have worked for us. Number 3, challenges. You have probably heard about them because they are working freaking great. And in whatever niche you are in or whatever is your business model, challenges is something you want to do within the community. So right here we can see an example of how that's gonna look. I'm gonna go into that in a second, but challenge itself is primarily a content piece. Everything else is secondary. So whenever a member joins, you want to have kind of like a fast-paced environment because you want to get as much activity from the new member inside the community as fast as possible, simply because that is the biggest single factor that determines how long actually the member is going to stay with your community. Because there are 25% of the people who join the community, especially if you have a free trial, that's even a higher number, those people actually just join in and never go back in the community. Imagine 25% of your community's revenue is staying simply because you have a wrong format. You have all these masterclasses and all of these content pieces that are just making people overwhelmed, which is the #1 reason why they leave communities. So instead of having masterclasses, you want to have a challenge. Let's say you are a fitness coach. 30-day weight loss challenge. Member joins, goes through the onboarding experience or sequence, and immediately gets thrown in action, where they have to create their meal plan, where they have to create their custom programs, or if you're a trainer giving personalized programs, they receive it from you, and day 1 starts right there. If you have that in place, your member is going to not leave your community or become basically people who are inactive in the community, and you're going to not lose those 25% of revenue that usually most of the communities lose. So if we're going a little bit more tactical right here, we can see on the screen. So if you're building, for example, the community on SKOOL, which we highly suggest, then you're going to have start here, which is basically the onboarding experience. And immediately you can see the second classroom is the New Year's 8-week challenge. People click on that and they start just going through the challenge itself. And you also want to create a channel, separate channel for the challenge in the community, where you can name it however you want, but we suggest just challenge or accountability days. That's how you can label it. And then every single day, the member needs to post an accountability post. Day 1, this is what I did, this is my weight, this is my progress. You know, so there is a public accountability, because again, it's just going to increase the likelihood of them actually completing the challenge. Because again, an interesting fact is that whenever we are reading a book, 90% of the people don't get past 10% of the book itself, which is mind-blowing. The same, believe it or not, applies also with info-based products. So you want to get them take action as fast as possible and get some kind of tangible results immediately. Number 4, essentials only. Good versus great restaurant. Good restaurants, they think they're in the business of food, while great restaurants, they know they're in the business of experience. The same also applies with the communities. I am just sick and tired of seeing how many communities think that, or community owners think that, if they're gonna add more value, or if they're gonna add more content pieces, masterclasses, forums, ebooks, things like that, they're gonna add more value. More content does not equal more value. It equals more overwhelm. The more overwhelm, the more people gonna leave your community. You don't want to be that person. So instead of being the person who's overwhelming people with a lot of content, you're gonna focus on essentials. And I'm gonna show you exactly how you're gonna do that right now. So, you want to simplify your content, one problem at a time, and then reward them by finishing and implementing that content piece on a specific one problem. Not 5 problems, not 4, not 3, not 2, but 1 problem. So, right here, a person consumes a content from your classroom. Let's say it's a masterclass. Then the person implements the teachings and then ideally gets rewarded for that. Again, an example. A masterclass about dating, you know, how to become more confident. Then the person implements. The homework is basically you have to go and approach or get 10 phone numbers from 10 different ladies. You go and you do that and you get a reward. You have a confidence boost. So how can you have that same sequence of consuming, integrating, and getting rewarded with your master classes? You want to think through that sequence and create your educational materials also based on that sequence, because then actually it's going to work for people. They're going to be happy. They're going to refer more people to your community. Here is really advanced question actually you want to ask, which is coming from some of the most successful SaaS companies in the world, which is, if I would get rid of from all of the things I offer inside the community, what's the one thing you want me to keep? This is a question you ask your clients. Again, I'm going to repeat because it sounds really simple as a question. But think about it. It's such a brilliant question. If I would get rid of from all of the things I offer inside the community, what's the one thing you want me to keep? That's how you're going to understand what's the reason why people join your community in the first place, and you can use that more in your sales vehicles and also other streams that you're using to acquire clients. And the same also goes vice versa, which is, if you want to have a perfect product, you want to eliminate all the things that people really don't give a fuck about. And the way you do that is you ask this: from all of the things that I have right now in the community, if I would take out one thing, or if I would take one thing out and you wouldn't care about, what would be that one thing? After getting answers from your clients on this question, you're gonna discover which actually classes, materials you have inside the community that really people don't give a fuck about. So my question is, why in the first place you have actually these content pieces? Probably because you didn't know actually people don't care about these pieces. So take them out, simplify the process so there is no overwhelm and more people actually stay in your community. Number 5, let's go back to school. Let's do homeworks. Homeworks. Yes, that is correct. Still, at the end of the day, you have to look at your community kind of like an educational place. It can be school, high school, kindergarten, whatever you want to name it. But you want to make sure that you're adding in your content and weekly community calls homeworks that the members can actually be kept accountable for and show or engage about inside the community. Because again, remember, like during this video, like you have heard many times the word engagement. It's like so important because it's directly tied to how long people actually going to stay in your community. So you want to increase the engagement as much as possible. And with the homeworks, it's just a perfect way to do so, because let's say, for example, you have homeworks in your classrooms or in your content basically. So you have a masterclass, you have a homework, and then the people can be kept accountable inside the community for the homework they are performing. So there is a different channel, homeworks, and they can post their progress, questions, and things like that. So it's really cool also to kind of like build that unity within the community and stronger bond. So the same applies also for weekly community calls. Right here, community call, homework, community channel for accountability, and in the next community call, the next week that you're gonna have, you can spend the first 5 to 15 minutes reviewing actually the homeworks of your members. And it's just such a cool way actually to spend time with your community itself, when there is a specific one homework, one target, and everyone is working towards that target. And then you're reviewing actually everyone's progress. Like, it's actually quite damn cool. I hope that I would be part of such a community as well. Anyways, let's move to the next. All right, so this is going to be the 6th one, and it's super simple. Yet, nobody is doing it. I haven't seen a single community actually doing that. And this is again coming from the SaaS world and the e-commerce world, because they have really low margins. Therefore, they have to be super competitive. And whenever you have to be super competitive, you're sharp as knife, or you're the sharpest knife in Gordon Ramsay's kitchen, like I like to say. So right here, what you have to do is basically you have to have 2 survey forms. You have to have one that is internal and one that is external. So the internal one right here, whenever member joins and they have been at least for 2 months in the community, you want to ask them questions. Why you are part of this community, what you like the most, and here is the kicker. You want to ask them what kind of movies they are consuming, what kind of songs they are consuming, what kind of hobbies they have. And then you want to take that together and seek out for patterns. You want to identify patterns of the common habits that they are having, common TV shows, because then you're going to use that information. Let's say everyone likes Gladiator or Batman, let's say. So you're going to take that Batman concept and you're gonna brand your community around Batman. Because then the members and the outside members, because they are the same target audience, they're gonna be more connected actually with your community. The same also for songs, for example. You see there's one specific song, Eminem, Lose Yourself. Example, you start off, instead of starting off your weekly community call just without music, you put Eminem, Lose Yourself. And all of a sudden everyone is like, what the fuck just happened? It's my favorite music. And all of a sudden the energy is up, everything is up. Everyone thinks you are like a magician. Oh fuck yeah, you could be one if you did these internal surveys. Second, let's go to a little bit more boring side of surveys, which is when people unfortunately cut your community. Here, you want to understand why they are leaving your community. You want to be really specific. You want to understand, is it the price? Is it that there is no engagement? There is no value? You want to find out what is the reason why people are leaving. And then once you're getting that, you can actually you see that, hey, everyone is saying this is too expensive. You can fix your pricing, or you can increase the perceived value or the actual value people get inside the community, so you don't have people leaving because of the price. All right, you solve this one. You still have a churn rate, which is pretty high. The people again say, hey, the value is not there, or I don't know, I'm just not feeling like this is really the right community for me. You know, everyone is different and things like that. I'm not really connected. Then you know you have to work on your accountability partners section and things like that. So with that said, these were the 6 copy-paste frameworks you can implement into your paid community. And I can assure you, your community is just gonna be standing out from the masses. You're gonna be the signal, the other is gonna be the noise, and you're gonna have quite a lot of unfair advantages. Again, if you want to have access to more advanced strategies, frameworks, and insiders information, then go under this video in the description. There is one magical link to our community, which is gonna give you access to all of these magical frameworks and things. See you in the next video.